Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Sarah. I'm the Associate Producer and Production Coordinator for the Moxie Commission. So we're just here to have a quick, 20, 30-minute talk back with some of the creative team members. You guys, please, audience members, feel free to feed any questions that you have in the chat. Directly DM them to Madeline, and then she'll feed them to me, and I can ask them. But we have some guiding questions here, and also creative team members, if you guys want to ask questions to each other, also please feel free to do that. So we'll just go around and have everybody introduce themselves really quickly. Like I said, I'm Sarah. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm calling in from the Muncie Lenape land. And Jess, want to go ahead and go?
Hey y'all, I'm Jess. She, her, also calling in from Monsignor Lenape lands. I'm calling from East Harlem, New York. And I was one of the writers, or the writer for Good Mourning. I'll pass it on to Narissa, who's next on in my screen.
Hi, I'm Narissa. I use she, her pronouns. I'm coming to you from Seminole Land on the east coast of Florida, and I was a stage manager / line producer. And I'll pass it to Uma.
Hi all, I am Uma. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm coming from Lenape Canarsie land in Flatbush, Brooklyn. I am the playwright of Don't Leave Me at the Front Door, and I'll pass it to Leah.
Hi, I'm Leah. I use she, her pronouns. I'm calling in from the Timucua and Seminole land in Gainesville, Florida. And I was the line producer and stage manager of Don't Leave Me at the Front Door. And I'll pass it down to Leigh.
Hi, y'all. My name is Leigh Rondon-Davis. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and I am on Huchin, which is the land of the Lishan Ohlone, which we have colonized and settled as Oakland, California. I was the co-director of Good Mourning along with the brilliant Shannon R. Davis, who couldn't be here tonight. And I will pass it to Sarah.
Or I think Kathleen.
Oh, sorry, Kathleen. Pass it to you, Kathleen.
Hi everyone, Kathleen, she, her. I was the director of Don't Leave Me at the Front Door. I am calling from Seminole Land, which is now known as Kissimmee, Florida / Central Florida, and very excited to be here. Did everyone go? Narissa? Okay, great.
So my first question is for everybody. So when you guys were first approached to be a part of the Moxie Commission, what made you particularly excited about being a part of this project? And whoever wants to go, you guys just turn off your mute and start talking.
I'll totally go first. The thing that somebody had said it when we did a little toast before the show started was that to be able to create something specifically for this medium is really amazing and unique, and you're not just trying to like shoehorn like a show you wrote into like a virtual space, but to create something was really, really exciting.
My experience was, exactly the same as Jess's, but on top of that, the day that Broadway shut down, Kathleen and I were actually in auditions to cast a play for Moxie that I wrote, and we had to shut down and postpone. So for me, when I was approached by, Madeline and Kayla, I was just like, yeah, absolutely. I'd give anything to work with Moxie, considering I was about to before everything fell apart. So on top of what Jess said, I also was just feeling like this was the fulfillment of a prophecy.
I was probably one of the last people brought on board and for the project, and I got a text from Shannon while we were in a meeting together, and she was like, hey, do you want to do this thing for Moxie? And I was like, I love Moxie. I've never seen any of their work, but I've just been admiring from the West Coast, hoping I would make it out to see something. And so the combination of being a fan of Moxie, adoring the shit out of Shannon, I like signed on knowing very little about the project. And then was just like not surprised, but just overjoyed by the whole experience. So yeah.
I guess for me, it was, I feel like I've been in so many Zoom rooms and it's like a constant like who's who, like what's going on. So for me, it was just the like opportunity to have a consistent group of people who you were curating and creating with over a long period of time. And I think having the time to actually build relationships and cohorts and art at the same time during this situation, this current moment is a real light that we get to participate in.
When Madeline approached me, I was really excited because it had been a minute since I had done anything virtual. And I really, really, really wanted to get back into it. And I worked with her on 24-hour plays, and the ability to build a whole new cohort with a different group of people made me really excited because I loved the people I worked with, and I'm already in love with this cohort.
Yeah, I mean, my story is similar to Uma's since we were in the same room together. But I was really excited by the format, and similar to Narissa, being able to create a sort of community, but also have a very specific purpose of creating like these new, bringing life to these completely new virtual plays for this specific platform was what really excited me about it.
Okay, and then so looking forward, so what role do you guys think and hope virtual theater will continue to play in the industry as things begin to hopefully open up and live theater begins happening again? How do you think being able to make art in a virtual space is going to reshape the industry, and what do you want it to do to reshape the industry?
I actually have a full answer to this. Sarah, this is the one question that I was like, I got this one. Making art virtually as an actor and as a playwright has really changed the way that I'm able to keep up with my relatives and my family friends. I have a lot of family in India. I have family in Chicago. I have family in Europe. I have family friends all over the globe. And nobody has really been ever able to see me do my thing, whether that's in school in Florida or in New York City. And what's really changed is that, my mom, who's in the audience right now, gets messages from people who have bought tickets for something that I'm doing without either of us knowing, and been like, wow, so great to finally see Uma do the thing that she has been studying for. So that's a very selfish and like myopic view, but I think it can be expanded to the rest of the world. Like, we are able to see art that we normally would never have been able to see. I am able to see art that is being performed in South Africa. I'm able to see art that's being performed in Spain. Like, without, let's talk about the classism of all that. Like, if you don't have money to go internationally travel and see international art, that's one thing. If you don't have money to pay to see Broadway shows, which, like, who of us has that money? Virtual theater is so accessible. And then add to that all of the accessibility for people who are not mobile, for people who are unable to, like, we have closed captioning for a lot of programming for people who need closed captioning, so live theater is inaccessible to them. I just think it's a really lovely thing, and I think that the world will be a darker place if we don't have that going forward, if we let it kind of fall by the wayside as like a COVID thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of accessibility, I also think about like the beauty of this project and the creative team. Like, I would have never been able to work with you all or Moxie if we weren't virtual. Our team was mostly based in the Bay, but the person that edited Good Mourning Together, she's in Taiwan right now. And I've worked with artists all over the world that I would have never had the opportunity to work with prior to. And I had a really similar experience. Like, for the first time, my family down in Trinidad was able to see my work during the pandemic. And they've never gotten to see any of my professional work before. And so I think for those of us with, diasporic backgrounds or, family located outside of our main local geographic area, this has just been an opportunity to share more. and open the doors wide to people who maybe had never thought about seeing theater, but like watching it on a screen from the comfort of your own home, they're like, oh, this is actually something I can be into or excited about. And so that's been really exciting for me about the virtual theater.
I think from a producing perspective too, of there's another thing to use for further development, right? Like if someone can't see the show live, you can watch a digital recording and you have a script. And I think there's I think, Uma and Leigh touching on how accessible it is. It's also accessible on creating those collaborations. That is really exciting to make the world a smaller place. And I think also with this intimate format, for me personally, I like growing up in middle school with social media and everything, there's like an inherent intimacy to it that I think is also opening up the urgency of art, because people can go through Zoom rooms for meetings and what have you, but to go to a Zoom room that is like a gift for you, I think is really special in this time, and hopefully it continues.
Yeah, I could not agree more with what absolutely everybody has previously said. And then on top of it, the idea of what it is for like individuals and or smaller companies to develop is like, I mean, the cost of space alone in any major city is a huge barrier to having a reading. And the idea that we can potentially do a lot of the early development that most people have no ability to get into motion because of cost through this kind of space is huge, and it's so exciting. And yeah, I think that if we don't continue virtual theater or virtual development in some sort of format, like I don't think it's ever going to take over like what we think of as live theater, but until technology gets probably a lot better for live events. But if we don't continue it in some format, it's like a huge missed opportunity.
I think from a technical standpoint, it's really pushed me out of my box. As a stage manager, I never thought I would be doing this, and having to adjust on the fly and adapt really has helped me, not as a stage manager, but also as a person. So I think it honestly has been such a great opportunity to grow as people and as artists.
I was just going to say, I think that the future, just going off of what everyone said, it's definitely going to be a hybrid world of creation and collaboration. And I definitely think that when it comes to the new play development process, it's definitely going to open doors to, how we present readings, especially in with people who have so many busy schedules, and then also the factor of accessibility, of course. I think that yeah, I definitely think there's going to be a lot of plays inspired by Zoom that are going to happen just live. I think there's going to be a lot of really experimental performance art, which I've been thinking about as well. But yeah, I hope that the hybrid sort of, at least for play development, I think it could be a really useful tool, even though I really want to be in the room with folks again. Yeah.
So my next question is specifically for the playwrights. So during the writing process, how did you approach writing and thinking about formulating a piece that was able to be presented virtually, but also could be performed live, as was kind of the prompt that Moxie gave all of the playwrights as they were starting these plays?
I can go first. I mean, I think whenever you start to write something, like, or no, that's totally not the way to start off the sentence. I feel like sometimes I like write things and I have no idea how they're going to look. And I think that there's like a certain element of writing for this medium that is some kind of weird like screenplay theater hybrid. So in a lot of ways, like I would write something like this is a FaceTime call. I don't know how we're gonna do this, but we'll see how it happens. And Shannon and Leigh were just like so amazing because it somehow managed to happen. But then also like the idea of like, if it couldn't be a FaceTime call, like being like, you know what is the the theatrical version of it, that then translates through like a Zoom medium, and being kind of like open to all the different versions that it could be, and using whatever the theater of our mind, etc. But it was just I was blown away. I just want to take this moment to say that I was so blown away by the work that Shannon and Leigh did. I did not get to see a draft, like I did not see any of the drafts until just now, and I was full on like just laughing out loud at some moments, and I was like, I was there for most of this. So I'm just like so impressed, and like the innovation that that occurred during the creation process of like just this process. So I'm not sure if that answered the question at all, but I think balancing a screen, like some kind of screenplay version in our brains, and also the theater of the mind eventually, I think was the way that I approached it.
I mean, like the screenplay idea is so apt in terms of describing what we did. We took a screenplay, we took a play, we locked them in a room together until they had babies, and then we put them on the screen. Like it's something that I don't think has ever been done before, and I don't think I've ever set out to write something like this. So on top of all of that, I think a lot about the ways in which we interact on the internet, the ways in which the internet has made communication possible during the pandemic itself, and also just in other parts of our lives. Like the reason that I wrote Don't Leave Me at the Front Door is because that was some of the first interactions I had with the internet, with meeting strangers on the internet. Now, we go on dating apps, and then we like go on dates with random humans. That's how I met my partner. But like, it's insane to think about, because so much of our interaction happens online. Why can't I, as a playwright, write about that interaction? That's just as much human interaction as sitting at a bar with somebody, right? So this idea, the Moxie Commission gave me this opportunity to be like, there's this whole untapped area of human interaction that I actually haven't written about. Wouldn't it be dope if I could do that? So when I read the question for the first time, I'm like, this isn't supposed to be performed live, but like it totally could. It totally could be performed live. My two protagonists, or my one protagonist and the antagonist, could have been opposite each other, but still doing this 100% live. Wouldn't it be such a voyeuristic, exciting experience for us all? Isn't that what playwriting is all about, So that's kind of the vibe that I wanted to think about. It's this look into our modern lives, and our modern lives require communicating over the internet.
And so my last question is for the directors and stage manager line producers is, what about seeing the shows tonight made you excited about working with all the other two playwrights and all the different collaborators that you guys will end up working with in May and July when we have the other two shows?
I'll jump in. For Uma's play, I need to know what happens. And I know you said we might not get that, but in my heart, I need to know. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was like, my heart is beating very fast. What's gonna happen? And even the same in Jess's play as well. I was like on the edge of my seat. I'm like, she's gonna go to the door. This really is how people get murdered. Like, I am nervous. And I'm like ready to just dive into each of their plays. Even if Uma's is different, I'm ready.
I was just gonna say that I'm really excited by the distinct voices of each each production or play or piece. I don't know what word to use right now, but and just Narissa was saying this a little bit too, but just like I really want to get into the worlds of each individual playwright and really help. I don't know what point I'm going to jump into the story, which will also be a very that also really excites me to be able to, you know, build upon what other creatives did in either episode 1 or 2 and then be able to jump in. And so, yeah, I don't know. Each play just was so uniquely beautiful and moving, and then also just had like such a unique theatricality to each one. So I'm excited to like flex different muscles with each one and each collaborator. Yeah, even though I love my team, my first team. So I'll miss you guys, but moving on. Tough love.
I think coming off of Don't Leave Me at the Front Door, like facing so many different problems and solutions and finding the puzzle of it all, I'm so excited to see how like we're like, as everyone said, it's every playwright has such a distinct different voice, as well as every director has such a different outlook on it, to seeing like what challenges will arise, what like solutions will we find. And I think that discovery process is so exciting, having now a little taste of what's in store with Jess and Marissa. So I'm very excited.
Shannon and I already talked about like what were some of the things that we learned from this last process, like what we're excited about to move into the next one. Also, we had the unique situation of co-directing, so we also like learned a lot about like how each of our directing styles play off of each other. Like we joked a lot, like Shannon had this whole like mind movie situation happening, and I like had no idea how all of these parts were gonna come together. So she like really held that down, and I like held all the logistics. I made all the props. And so like using that to balance off of each other. But I think in terms of the plays, I'm just excited to get to know some new artists. I think you know, I'm a little bummed that we're not gonna get like part 2 of Don't Leave Me at the Front Door, but I'm also just really excited to see what your like magnificent brain cooks up, Uma. And I loved Techno Paper Planes. Like I just love seeing that like relationship between 2 Black women, the way they like make community and show up for each other as random strangers, and then like their family by the end. So I don't know if Maggie's planning on writing like a continuation of that or something totally different, but just the way she captured that made me so excited to work with her. I think we're like on the same like emotional wavelength. And so yeah, I'm just stoked to get to know this whole crew and get a chance to work with everybody.
Well, those are all the questions that we have for tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. This was super awesome. Madeline, Kayla, I don't know if you guys have anything you want to say to wrap up.
Get your tickets. Get your tickets. The next 2. I'm already ready to get my tickets. My season pass. I'll shut up. I'm just so proud of you all.
Sincerely, thank you, everybody. Really great job tonight.
All right, bye.